Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be taking a look at the commander skill Sixth Sense. Now the reason I'm making this video is that recently, and when I say recently I mean the last 2 weeks, up until, well, and this happened yesterday when I was playing the game, yesterday evening I was playing the game and I saw this again, I am noticing an increasing number of players playing without Sixth Sense. And I really struggle to understand why anyone would be deliberately handicapping themselves, because Sixth Sense is the most fundamental crew skill in the entire game. Without it, you have absolutely no way of knowing if you're spotted or not. And knowing if you're spotted can be the difference between pulling off a game-winning flank or dying, or losing. It can be the difference between living and dying in this game. So I really struggle to understand why someone would choose to play without it. Now the arguments I've heard for not using Sixth Sense are play like you're always spotted, you've got true vision so you can see the enemy all the time anyway, and not using Sixth Sense frees up a commander slot so I can put a different skill in there. Okay. The first argument there requires you to play with a handicap. The second argument is, in my opinion, a massive... it's a demonstration of an enormous overconfidence in one's ability to see the enemy. And the third one, again, that's a handicap as well. So I don't know why you would deliberately choose that. Here's the thing for me. Sixth Sense, it is the most useful commander skill, hands down. There is no other commander skill that provides you with as much battle information as this one. And knowing if you've been seen or not means that you know if you can push a flank or not, or if you need to play defensively, or if you can play aggressively. It tells you so much about what you can and can't do. Yeah, I really struggle to understand why you would handicap yourself like that. But there's another point as well. There is a trick in World of Tanks that is as old as the game itself. From day one of this game being released, there was a trick that you can do with Sixth Sense, and if you don't use Sixth Sense, you cannot do this. So let's take a look at this clip here. So here we have a situation where there is a weasel in the corner, but I don't see him until he moves. Example of not seeing things until it's too late, or just an example of not seeing anything that's right in front of you. You won't see stuff. Weasel comes over, he's got me spotted, he kills himself, which is handy. But now I've got 2 tank destroyers and a heavy. So I go down, I head this way down the 0 line with Sixth Sense active to make them think I'm heading up the 0 line. I handbrake when Sixth Sense turns off. I go back on myself. And the reason I've done that is because those guys will think I've headed down the 0 when I haven't. And there they are coming around the corner. So if I hadn't had Sixth Sense, I would have had no idea if I was spotted, and or when the detection, me being detected, turns off. I wouldn't have known, which means I wouldn't know when to spin around. The only way you can pull off this trick is if you know when you're not detected, and the only way you can know when you're not detected is if you use Sixth Sense. That situation there, I'd have run into 3 tanks and I'd be dead. But because of Sixth Sense, I'm alive. So there you go. That's an example of how you have got to use Sixth Sense to your advantage. Now what I want to do now is I want to take a look at each of these arguments, and let's dig into them a little bit more, and I'll respond to each one of them in turn. Okay, so play like you're always spotted. Well, my immediate response to this is, what if you're not spotted? My playstyle varies, like you just saw in that clip. My playstyle will vary depending on whether I'm spotted or not. And that made the difference between living and dying in that game. So the ultimate goal really of every successful player is to preserve their hit points. And the best way you can do that is to avoid being seen, or to avoid running into a situation that you know is going to get you killed. And if you're spotted, you're likely to get shot at because people know where you are. And if you want to save your hit points, it's best to stay unseen because you're unlikely to shoot at what you don't know is there. If you're undetected, then you're safe, probably. For True Vision, it's not a guarantee, but if you're undetected, you're probably safe. If you're detected, you're probably not safe, and Sixth Sense provides you with that very clear-cut safe or not safe information. Take that away and you really have no clue what you're doing, or where you can go or where you can't go. And your game just turns into guesswork. And that is not typically guesswork is not typically a reliable thing to base any decision on. So why take the risk? Use Sixth Sense. To me, that just makes sense. Alright, True Vision means you can see everything, and yes, this is, for me, this is the classic assumption that everything is visible, which means I will always see it. But I hate to burst your bubble. You won't. Again, let's take a look at these clips here. So unfortunately with this one, I failed to record the live clip, but here's an example of an Ignis, a Pharaoh's Fury, a Weasel, and I think that's another Pharaoh's Fury. Just casually driving past, don't even know I'm there. Weasel driving straight past, yeah, doesn't see me, yeah, bye bye. Again, Ignis, yeah, right there. I moved as well, typically movement is what gives you away. Nope, hey, don't even see me, nope. And he off on his merry way. And again, start of the game here on airfield, Weasel coming straight at me, and does he... Nope. Nope. Off he goes. And, yeah, there you go. So, you've got True Vision. You'll see the enemy. No. No, I'm afraid you won't. You might sometimes, but you won't all the time. And using Sixth Sense can help in a way that no other skill can. So, yeah, use Sixth Sense, guys. It doesn't make sense to not use it, in my opinion. So, not having Sixth Sense frees up a commander slot. This is true, it's not a lie. However, no other commander skill in the game provides as much information as Sixth Sense. So, you can put in its place skills that are rarely used, or some slightly more popular ones. I mean, you could go with Last Stand, Adrenaline Rush, Gunsmith, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Off-Road Driving. You could go with any of them, but none of them will provide you with the same level of battle information that Sixth Sense does. So, just use Sixth Sense. That is the bottom line here, and if you want to, you want to be as informed in battle as possible so that you can perform as best as possible. Sixth Sense tells you how your tank is being interacted with in the game. It tells you how the enemy is interacting with your tank in the game. And it gives you a warning before the exclamation mark shows up telling you that you're being targeted. You can know what's going on before you take the risk of taking damage. Sixth Sense tells you when to be cautious. It tells you when to be defensive, it tells you when you can be aggressive, it tells you when you're free to move or when you're not free to move. And without it, the only warning you have is when things are about to go wrong and someone is pointing their gun at you. And in my opinion, the exclamation mark is useful. It's good to know when you're targeted, but if that's all you're going on in-game, then in my opinion, that is too little information, too late. I want to be as prepared as possible, and that's why I use Sixth Sense. And I would recommend others use Sixth Sense as well, for the reasons I have demonstrated here, or explained here. So, there you go, guys. That's my take on the use of Sixth Sense. That's all I've got for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.